everyone, my name is REDRUP. This is the It's Not a Phase podcast, and on this episode I'm joined by Delaire The Liar vocalist and guitarist Ffin Colley. We talk about the band's new self-defense EP, how the EP's title and overarching concept stemmed from a difficult time in Ffinn's life, working with Pinchin of Modern Era, his love for literature, and loads more. Now, if you enjoyed this or any other episode of the podcast and you want to show your support, there's a few ways that you can do that. Number one, leave a rating and review wherever you're listening to this. It takes just a few seconds and it really does help. Number two, share this on your social media, whether that be Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, wherever. Or number three, if you want to go the extra mile, you can pay a little bit each month to join the Patreon, and in return you'll get access to episodes early along with some other perks, or you can pick up some merch from the store. All the links to that and the podcast socials where you can follow us can be found at itsnotaphase.co.uk. That's itsnotaphase.co.uk. And now with all that out of the way, let's jump right into this week's episode of It's Not a Phase. What's up, everybody? Thank you for joining me on this episode of It's Not a Phase, where I'm joined by Ffin Colley, who is the frontman of Delaire The Liar. How are you doing, dude?
I am superb, Zach. It's brilliant to meet you.
In this horrendous heat wave that we're enduring at the moment, and apparently there's like another week of it left, so...
Who's enjoying it? Who's enjoying it, Zach? Honestly. I mean, I'm sure some people do, but people like, as we were discussing before this got started...
Yeah.
People like you and me aren't built for this kind of heat, you know? We're melters.
The UK is meant to be cool. What's all this about?
It's meant to be cool, calm, and collected, and instead, we've got whatever this dumpster fire of place is. In, you know, weather and general vibe.
In more ways than one. In more ways
than one. Yeah. Maybe we don't dive into politics right away, but we'll get there soon.
Yeah, let's ease people in first. Let's ease people
in. Why not?
Yeah. So, of course, you guys have just dropped your new EP, Self-Defense. How are you feeling about having this new collection of music out there? And also, how is it kind of being able to write and record this batch of songs without the restraints of, you know, the lockdown, which unfortunately, I think affected the last one, didn't it?
Yeah, it did. Yeah. I mean, we wrote Eat Your Own, you know, obviously in isolation from each other, still in very close contact, but just bouncing ideas around a Google Drive. M has a very kind of like concise way of saying that we use Google Drive as our rehearsal room, which I think is it's pretty, you know, nail on head in that regard. Right. We did record this self-defense ourselves, and we did do it in quite tight time constraints as well. But being in the room with each other made all the difference, I think. You know, that kind of like immediacy of having an idea that you don't quite know how to vocalize or play. You just make the sound to your bandmates, and you go like, I think this bit should go like, and then they're just like, okay, that makes sense to me. Let me tell you, having to do that in a voice note
doesn't translate quite as well.
Does not translate as well. But yeah, I mean, I got quite sick at the end of last year, so I managed to wrangle some time off after that, and we wrote this collection of songs. And you know, obviously, it's not an experience I would quickly revisit, but having that kind of time and leeway to really invest into just writing what I think is one of our strongest collection of songs out to date, and to be able to do it back in the room with Chaz and M at that time was just so fulfilling. Because when Chaz and M joined the band, we only played 2 shows together before lockdown happened. So we actually hadn't even engaged in that writing process properly as a band. So this was actually a couple of years later, our first foray into that. And it was explosive. It was challenging at times. You know, sometimes you find yourself screaming into the floor as to what is the right melody for this. You lose all perspective. You lose all perspective of what's good and what's bad. And you just kind of like, you've got 6 ideas on the table and all of them are good, but which is the best? Fuck knows.
You're the best of the bunch, and it's not always easy to pick.
How do you pick the ripest hook? You know, it's impossible. But I think we did a good job of that kind of whistling process. And yeah, I'm really, really stoked that it's finally out, you know, and the idea has been realized, and it seems to have been received really well. It's actually very, you know, it's heartwarming seeing like the reviews come in, and it's like, okay, yeah, it's not just copy and paste from the press release. It's like people have actually listened and actually have understood what we're getting at, and like seem to really enjoy it. Oh, God, it's a very validating and wonderful feeling. Really, it is. Yeah.
Yeah, well, you mentioned, people kind of getting what you were trying to do with it, and it's kind of based around the title, isn't it? Like the title kind of explains, it's all about kind of protecting oneself from other people, not only in like a very literal physical sense, but emotionally and practically. And what was kind of like the catalyst for that idea to come about? What kind of made you think, oh, this is kind of a good overarching idea to write these songs about?
Well, I think that there's like an immediate train of thought that comes when someone mentions self-defense, and that's like a violent situation which requires violence to preserve your well-being. And I think because of how unwell I got at the end of last year, I was doing a bit of reflection on this, actually, how unwell I got. It was not good, and I think that idea started coming to me after I got out of hospital, basically. And just the different ways that people kind of preserve themselves, what they will and what they won't do for the benefit of others, for the benefit of themselves, how people interpret the idea of defense. It's not just that aggressive and physical format. There are loads of other ways to explore that idea and that necessity, and how people kind of like justify it to themselves that what they're doing is right. Well, maybe, also, a lot of the stories that we've created in this EP have a very negative side to it, have a very negative reality to those actions. And I don't know, you can buy into it. You can buy into it yourself. Like, this is what I need to do because this is for my own betterment, or this is for the betterment of other people. And there is literally no other way out of the position that I'm in other than to do this. There's a part of that that's self-belief, which can be incredibly valuable. And there's a part of that that is really self-deprecating. And I just find that idea very interesting, in a point where I was like, essentially put myself in hospital because I was ignoring a lot of warning signs. I'm diabetic now, but basically when I went into hospital, I went in with something called diabetic ketone acidosis, which is basically because your body can't process food, it starts to eat itself and your blood turns to acid.
Oh, wow.
So I was like, my girlfriend was away on tour. I was for a month. I was at home. I didn't want to make anyone worried. I didn't want to like bail on any commitments that we had. We played shows. It was my grandma's 80th birthday, like all of this stuff. I lost 2.5 stone in 3 weeks.
Wow.
Which I don't have a lot of that to lose anyway. Like I was like skeletal and I was in hospital for 4 or 5 days, basically. I basically was starving to death, and that was really difficult. But I didn't want to make anyone worried. Of course, people noticed. Of course, people worried about me. But I was just trying to power through. I was like, I'm not sick. I'm fine. I'll be fine. But that was me trying to, protect others when really I was starving myself to death. And I think, like in hindsight, that is a very dangerous mentality to have. Who are you really protecting? Who are you really defending? And I think that manifested in this EP. As a way to kind of resolve that within myself. So that's kind of where that conversation started happening.
Right.
And then the different ideas of how you defend yourself, or how the different parameters that you can use to defend yourself, and whether or not they are ultimately positive in your best interest or the interest of others, or whether or not they have serious consequences at the end of it.
Yeah.
So that was it. Yeah, that was basically where that all came from.
Right. Scary times. I mean, I hope you're like better now. You're kind of like coping with that kind of change in your life. Yeah. It's inevitably made now.
Yeah, totally. I'm getting thick now. Okay, so yeah, it was very scary. It was very scary. Scary time for me, for my family, and like for my girlfriend. Yeah, it sucked, but like, it's just how you kind of recover from that. And it's been a difficult year, but good things come out of these situations. As cliche as that is, I mean, good things can come out of this if you, focus the lens, I think. But yeah, that's how I'm trying to look at it now. But I'm in a much better place now, definitely.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
wait. Okay. For the listeners at home, I'm flexing to Zach.
I think I'm looking at Arnie right now. But
yeah, exactly. Yeah, me and Arnie. Brothers in arms.
Well, you say like something good comes out of it. I mean, you could literally just point to the EP. Like, you know, you created something out of that experience. I know that these are all fictional scenarios that you've actually put into the EP, but as you said, like the catalyst was this, you know, very life-changing and scary moment in your life.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, for sure. And that's and you know what? I actually hadn't even realized that until about like a couple of weeks ago.
Right.
I was like, self-defense. And it's like some questions started coming through from like different PR things. And I was just like, so, you know, why self-defense? And I was like, why self-defense? I was like, oh yeah, I nearly died. That's probably got something to do with it, you know? But yeah, it was just, exactly. You know, this has been a real, diamond from what was a very compressing time. You get it? That's how you make diamonds.
That's pressure. True. You can correct me if I'm wrong here, but I believe the name of the band is that from A Series of Unfortunate Events. Is that from those books? Yeah.
Absolutely. Hell yeah. Done your homework.
Yeah, like, I have to research it.
Sick. Yes, it is. Well, it's kind of a reference too.
Yeah.
But, yeah, because like Delaire is just like a shortened version of Baudelaire, which is like the Baudelaire orphans and stuff. And the idea behind the band really was supposed to be kind of looking at kind of like human capacity, you know? I mean, I feel like, which sounds like a proper twat thing to say, but it does sound like a twat thing to say. But, you know, what really kind of like interests and kind of inspires a lot of our writing, particularly like lyric writing, is human capacity for duality, actually. Let me say, like duality. You know, what you can endure, what you can inflict, is very interesting, and being objective about that, about your own personal experience, about in these fictional scenarios, about kind of like the pros and the cons, the negatives, and all that kind of stuff. And what I think is like the main constant within the Series of Unfortunate Events books is that the only two constants through it are the Baudelaire orphans and the antagonist Count Olaf. So that's where those two kind of come from. Who is he's a fraud, he's a liar. Delaire the Liar.
Yeah,
that's where that kind of came from. And I like the way that it sounds, which is also important.
Yes. Yeah, it's got to be something kind of like rolls off the tongue and people can remember as well.
Yeah, and people are just like, "Oh my god, are you French?" I'm like, "No, I'm not." It's a great big joke.
Yeah, that accent definitely isn't French that you've got.
Yeah,
no.
Yeah, from Provence, baby, from Provence. Yeah.
Well, I guess you these songs are from like fictional scenarios, kind of like these stories you've made, and the band's name is from these collection of stories. I take it fictional stories, books, creative writing, that kind of very much influences you when you're writing these songs for this band.
Oh, totally. Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, lyrically, especially, you know,
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, absolutely. I mean, the thing that I always loved about Lemony Snicket and Series of Unfortunate Events is that, like, for a young reader, this was not an author that like pulled any punches in how the story developed. Like, it was fucking sad. Like, it was crushing. It was interesting. There were glimmers of hope that were snuffed out at the last minute. There was mechanics to it. There was schemes. There was upset, danger, prevailing over all these things, using language that I'd never heard before, and also kind of explaining that as well. You know, if there's one way to kind of like engage a young reader, it's to use language in a way that isn't patronizing, but in a way that is also explaining how to most effectively use that language. And I just thought Lemony Snicket in that way was fucking amazing. And that really spurred my personal want and need to explore creative writing as well, you know. And then I get into like poetry and stuff. I mean, E.E. Cummings is like a big one for me. I love like Maggie Nelson as well. I mean, I read some Audre Lorde, and like it fucking changed my life, you know. And like that, being able to like, and Warson Shire as well. Whoa, go on. I read her book, Teaching My Mother How to Give Birth.
Right.
And I had no idea who she was. I just picked it up with foils, and I was like, okay, Warson. I assumed that Warson Shire was a man because Warson sounded like a masculine name to me. So I was like, okay,
Interesting.
What an interesting title for a man to entitle his poetry book, Teaching My Mother How to Give Birth. And like I opened the first page. It was just like a thin little book. I opened the first page, and I think the poem was, "I have my mother's eyes and my father's nose. On my face, they're still together." And I was like, people can be that concise and that beautiful.
Yeah.
Just like that. It was 4 lines. And I was like, that is fucking amazing how people can do that. And I know our music is quite verbose, which has been a criticism of my writing style, which I'm working on, you know. But I just think literature is amazing, and it's absolutely funnels into the way that we like to write and the way that I like to write lyrics and stuff like that. I think being vivid and having depth and character is so important. It's so important, which is why I struggle to condense it, I think. But I'm working on it. Might not be this EP, but it might be the next one, or maybe it won't, and maybe it'll just be even worse. Stay tuned to find out.
Time will tell.
Exactly. Yeah.
You know, not everyone can be, I don't know, like an LMFAO and just scream shots down the microphone. You've got stories to paint. Yeah.
Although maybe we just will, you know.
That'll be a switch up.
Exactly. Maybe we'll do that right before, I don't know, the breakdown in Bite Trap. Shots. It's funny actually. Recently, like on the last couple of shows that we did, when we played Bite Trap, I don't know even what started it, but our friend Josie was driving for us, and I think she was like, "Hold on to your butts." And is it
Jurassic Park? It's Jurassic Park.
Hold on to your butts. So nobody even noticed apart from the people in the band. But right before the breakdown in Bite Trap, when I'm supposed to do this big kind of like long sloping note up into a scream before the breakdown comes in, I would like cut that off short and I would go, "Hold on to your butts, dude." And no one clocked it. I mean, there's a lot going on, so I don't blame anyone for not clocking it, but it was quite funny to me. You know, we all had a nice little giggle about it whilst we were playing quite an intense part of that song.
Yeah. You need to take the like 2000s metalcore approach and just get like a movie sample to do that instead.
Oh, yeah. The old Skrillex maneuver as well. Yeah. You know, yeah, the old call 911 now. Do that, but just hold on to your butts.
Yeah.
It's sick. Very cool.
It'll go down really well.
I think it would go down well too, actually. Yeah. All right. Well, let's burn it down this weekend. So we'll see if we can squeeze something in before that.
What a time to, you know, debut such a change in the song and the mood of the song as well, you know.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Maybe we'll like cut to silence as well and just like, "Hold on to your butts," and then just come back in for maximum impact. I think it'll work. A treat.
Do you think you're gonna do like as like a side thing from the band? Like, would you like write your own stories or poems or anything like that?
Maybe. I'm really into drawing at the minute, drawing and painting. So I'm doing a lot more of that than like creative writing. Delaire kind of really scratches my itch on that front at the time being. But
fair enough.
You know, in lockdown, I did do a couple of like just short stories and stuff, which I found really fun. And my sister, who's an editor, said that it wasn't shit. So
seal of approval.
Pretty good. She's a professional. She works in the industry, and she said it wasn't shit. So who knows? Might have a blossoming career.
Yeah, I mean, ditch the band, like
exactly. Yeah. Actually, this is where I'm making my announcement.
Exclusive.
Off Delaire, and I'm gonna make mediocre prose. That's it.
The end of Delaire right here and now.
You heard it first.
Yep.
with the Zatch. With the
Zatch. Well, whilst Delaire was still going, you worked with Kel on this. You worked with Kel Pinchin from Modern Era with this EP.
Did. Yeah, absolutely.
What was it like working with him? Because you know that band and they're kind of like between the two of them, the two Pinchin brothers. Like, what can't they do?
They're both dicks, mate. Have you ever met them? I'm joking. I love the Pinchins. Like, I'm borderline obsessed with them. I just don't understand how. And almost to the point, like, we did a short tour with them earlier in this year.
Yeah.
Almost to the point, like, I'm resentful of them. I would think I maybe was being a bit mean to them on that tour, which they may well attest to if they're because I was just like, in my mind, how is that fair? You know?
Yeah.
2, incredibly good looking, unbelievably talented twins. What? what the fuck is in the water in Peterborough or wherever they're from? Pretty sure it's Peterborough.
I think it's Peterborough.
Yeah, it's insane. It's actually like, it's mental. Working with Kel is fantastic. Like, he's so hungry and he's got such a good ear. You know, he turned around the first mix of the first single of Bike Trap unbelievably fast. And like, after the first mix, I was just like, cool, well, good. We maybe had like a couple of notes, but I was just like, here's someone that fucking understands it, you know, that gets it. And obviously we've been friends for a while. So, and like, we've wanted to work together on stuff for a long time, you know? So it was like, yeah, it was just very good to finally get to do that. Yeah. And I just think, it's just stupid. It's just stupid. I can feel myself starting to get hateful again about it because I'm starting to get mad. When I feel passionately in a positive way about something, I start to get angry about it. Like, I fucking love them both so much. They're so fucking annoyingly talented.
Yeah.
I hate them.
You do get those people that it's just, how are you good at everything? Like, people are usually good at one or two things.
Yeah, exactly.
You can't have everything.
Oh, stupid. Yeah, no, they're both brilliant, you know, and you know, we would love to work with Zach again at some point. There was actually talks of Zach getting in on the Bike Trap video.
Okay.
At one point, but scheduling stuff didn't happen. And Harry Steele absolutely nailed it. Who turned it around in a day? The first cut in a day of a music video. Harry Steele, that's another one. Shout out Harry Steele for destroying the game.
Well, there's so many like talented people in like the scene as well. Like, obviously bands like yourself and, you know, there's Modern Era, Static Dress, all that kind of stuff, Harriet. But it's the people that are kind of like in behind the scenes kind of roles, like you say, Harry Steele, like producers, video makers, all that kind of stuff. So I think that helps in like this UK scene thriving in the past few years as well. Yeah.
Also, I'll take this opportunity then to shout out our boy Luigi Sabona, who did the Angel Number video, which was fucking sick. He's got like a production house called Hollow Productions, and he's a stupidly talented twat as well, just like the rest of them. He did all the stuff, all of the video stuff for the Eat Your Own campaign. And he's just started making like short films and they've won shitloads of awards. And like, don't get me wrong, working with him, his brain moves so fast, it makes me mad. But that's why we kind of work very well together, I think. You know, it's just like big ideas. No idea is too big. We'll just do it. Although one time, the video for Halloween, I remember I messaged him. I was just like, all right, hear me out. Big fire. And he was like, no. And I was like, but what if we did it? And he was like,
that was the treatment. Big fire.
Yeah, pretty much. No, but hear me out. Big fire. All right? Not a little one, big one. And he was like, no. But maybe. And then there was a big fire in the video, you know? It's good. It's good. No IT is too big. No fire is too big either. Just quite nice. But yeah, Luigi is very sick. And I'm very proud to be his friend and proud to have worked with him on so much, as with all of the people that we've worked with, particularly Luigi, because I like him. Sorry, guys, I like him the best.
Well, you know what's going to be for the next video? Bigger fire.
Bigger fire.
Yeah,
literally. Yeah, the biggest fire. The biggest fire.
Well, speaking of that video for Angel Number, obviously that's not the usual video that you'd see from like a band. You know, it's just this one person, completely choreographed, presented. How did that kind of idea come about to kind of take that route? Because I think, you know, doing something different helps for it to stand out as opposed to, you know, the cliche band plays in a abandoned warehouse or in the middle of a forest or whatever, which can be good, but there's like so many of them out there.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. And I think, you know, there is other kind of like, you know, contemporary dancing music videos out there, I'm sure, you know. But I think the big thing for this was, it was my friend Betty who choreographed and was dancing in the video, and we've always wanted to work with her. She's an unbelievably talented dancer, and I just think that like there was this video, and I can't remember the ballet dancer's name, but he was titled "The Bad Boy of Ballet," and there was a video of him dancing to Hosier's "Take Me to Church." Right. And I was, that is fucking beautiful, and I would hope that we would get a chance to do something like that. And Angel Number seemed to be like the perfect song for it. And we found like an amazing location. We've wanted Betty to do something kind of like dance for us in the music video. And I would just like to say that my girlfriend will say that it was her idea when we were talking, when we were drunk, but it wasn't. Okay. It was an idea. I'm not stealing her idea. She will want credit, but I'm not giving it to her because it wasn't her idea.
Well, we need to set the record straight. So thanks for doing that.
Set the record straight right now. I know she's going to listen to this and she'll be like, I can't believe you didn't even mention that it was my idea, the Angel Number video. And I'm just saying it wasn't her idea. We spoke about it whilst we were at the pub, but it was already an idea in my brain. Does that sound bad? It does sound a little bit like it was her idea, but I promise you, it was already in mine.
Well, who executed the idea? You.
Well,
yeah,
exactly.
Yeah.
Is intellectual property theft? That's a real thing, isn't it? It's not just like a fake thing that they do on TV.
I'm not a lawyer. I'm not going to be held accountable for this.
All right. Okay. Yeah. All right. Well, we'll move on it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, we'll find out, I suppose. But yeah, it was something that, like, watching the video of this ballet dancer doing the hosier thing, I was like, I would love for us to have an opportunity to do something like that. And the perfect song came up, got the perfect location, and we got the perfect dancer, and the perfect team to execute it. Luigi Sabona and Jordan Stevens, who are a dynamic duo. And it came out, it was beautiful. Again, it was just like one edit, and we were like, this is amazing. No notes. I think this is like the first EP where we've had like next to no notes on pretty much everything that we put out, which is insane.
Yeah.
It's an insane thing to have accomplished, and it's all down to the people that we worked with on it. So yeah, very, very happy with that.
Shout out to the team.
Shout out to the team.
Yeah.
Gang.
Well, now we just need your fans listening to this to learn the dance, and next time in the pit, Angel Number comes on, we need to see at least a few of them doing the dance.
Good luck. Honestly, I tried to have a go at it whilst they were shooting. It's hard. Dancing is hard, actually. You have to be incredibly athletic. You have to jump really high. And you have to run really fast. Good luck. Anyone that can do that, I will give you £10.
Is that just for one person? What if like 4 or 5 do it at the same time? You're going to start losing money here.
The best one gets £10.
Right.
Only £10 on the table. That's all I've got.
Well, there's not a lot of money in the band life nowadays, so.
True. And cost of living crisis, baby. Our bills are going up.
Especially if you're like tour outside the UK as well, you've got to think about all the Brexit costs and stuff like that.
Exactly. Honestly. And also like the work. Honestly, doing like, I don't know how to pronounce it. Is it carnet or carnet? I don't know.
I think it's carnet.
Carnet? Carnet sounds a little bit more kind of like mainland European. Carnet sounds like you're from bloody Derby.
Sounds like someone from Bolton. Carnet.
Carnet. Yeah. Yeah, but itemizing all of your shit. How much it weighs, how big it is. No. But yeah, okay. So Carnet from Bolton, Carnet, mainland Europe.
So you go to Europe.
Go to Europe.
With Carnet.
With Carnet. It's a good time. Oh, we do have a laugh, don't we?
We do. So people can do that dance at shows if they can learn the dance. And speaking of shows, you've got Castle Fest later in the month.
Castle Fest, end of September. Yeah. And then we're going to take it relatively easy, I think. Yeah, we've got a few things that we need to keep cracking on, keep them cogs turning, baby. But yeah, it's also been quite a lot of work gone on this year. So I think we're just going to take our foot off the gas a little bit and just enjoy the spoils of war.
and you've got Christmas to look forward to as well then.
Exactly. Christmas, all those kind of like winter festivities I'm a big fan of. I'm a big fan of Christmas crackers. I'm a big fan of paper hats as well.
Christmas dinners,
yeah, definitely. Gravy. I'm a big one for gravy, actually, of all kinds.
Right.
Gravy.
Okay, well, big question. Best form of potato, roast, mash?
All right, good question. And you know what? I feel like someone has actually asked me this in the not too distant past, and I can't remember what I said, but shit. You ever had a Hasselback potato?
I don't even know what that is.
Open your eyes, Zach. Hasselback potatoes are really good. They're kind of like you've got your potato, right? And then you slice it, but not all the way. So It's still in potato form, but it's got like the slices.
Kind of like a jacket potato. You do that.
So yeah, you do stick it in the oven. You like ladle it with butter so it like soaks in, and then you've got these like slices. Ladle it with butter so it all soaks in there. Stick them in the oven. 45 minutes or so. Bring them back out, baby. Get a load of cheese on that. It's like baked potato, kind of like almost, kind of a little bit of a roasting vibe going on there. Ultimately delicious. I'm going to say Hasselback potatoes. And if you haven't tried them, educate yourself.
So you've talked about now cooking, writing, poetry, dancing.
Yep.
What else is on the bucket list for Ffin?
The bucket list for Ffin, the old Ffin bucket list. I don't know, really. I just want to enjoy myself. I think like after the past year, it puts a lot of things into perspective, really. And I'm really enjoying playing music, which sometimes you lose sight of that a little bit. Things get too busy. You get wrapped up in a lot of like the shit. But we've been rehearsing recently, and honestly, I think it's the best we've ever sounded. And all of us are just like having the time of our lives in the room together. And that for me is just like the greatest fucking payoff. Like having people like be into like all of our songs and stuff is really cool. It's really cool. And meeting loads of people that are like into it, and we have like sick chats, making loads of friends, and that's wicked. But you can do that other ways, You can meet people and make friends other ways.
Yeah.
Music is a very unifying thing. And if you lose sight of like why you enjoy it in the first place, then you stop making those friends and you stop meeting those people and stuff. And at the minute, like, because you almost resent it. At the minute, like, I'm having the fucking time of my life. Like, we rehearsed today and it just sounded, after every song we stopped and we was like, fucking hell, we are the best band in the world, aren't we? I mean, it's just like one of those things. It was just like, what? We did that. That's rad,
Yeah.
And obviously we're not Paramore, so not the best band in the world, but it's that like gratifying feeling of just creating something so monstrous and so effective and evocative together. I just feel like, and all feeling unified in that feeling.
Yeah.
Like being unified in that feeling. Just being like, this is so sick. Yeah, it's just great. And that's really all I'm just hanging on to that, It's very good.
Yeah, well, it definitely feels like on this EP as well, like you're really kind of honing in and solidifying on what Delaire The Liar is, like more than you have on the previous ones. That's how I feel when I listen to it.
I agree. And I think we feel like, like the band is less in flux, because it started off as a 2-piece, and then we're a 3-piece, and then lockdown happened. We played 2 shows, and then we wrote an EP in lockdown, and now we're in this space now where it's just like, okay, there's a sense of normalcy. Em had COVID last week, so that's not still like out the window. She's fine now, but like that's not still out the window. So conscious of that, but we're all still living our lives. But we're able to do this thing together now properly for the first time, maybe since the band first started, and we all feel comfortable with each other to be able to kind of like create and feel like our voices are heard, and that's the sickest thing ever. It's just the sickest thing in the world.
Yeah.
Music fucking rules. Big up rock music. Forever. And Paramore. If you're listening, you're great.
What's on the foreseeable future for Delaire The Liar? I know you probably can't tell me what might be in the pipeline, but what do you foresee? Like, do you think maybe after this EP it'll be another EP? Do you think you're going to do singles? There's going to be an album? What do you think is going to be the future of Delaire?
I think we're looking a bit larger than that, but it could take time. But I think, going back to where we're at the minute, doing things at our pace and doing things that we enjoy is absolutely the priority, because things seem to be moving so quickly at the minute. And I think, from experience, when that happens, there's like a burnout at the end of it, and people just stop giving a shit. So as long as we continue to just keep giving a shit about what we're doing and doing it at our own pace and just doing it so we still feel happy and fulfilled by it, that's the priority. We'll play shows if shows come up. We'll go on a tour if the tour comes up, and we're like, very cool. We'll keep writing music and we'll keep putting it out. That nothing's stopping this freight train. But in terms of what that looks like or what format that's in, that can literally change on like a hairpin. This EP wasn't even supposed to come out, yet here it is. You know, it wasn't even supposed to be a thing, but here it is. You know?
Yeah.
So I think trying to plan too far ahead is a big mistake. You just do what you want. Just do what you want when you feel like it.
Just
2023.
Just living in the moment, I guess. Just kind of just taking things as they come.
I'm always living in the moment, honestly.
Yeah.
My life is the moment.
Just wing it.
Winging it. I'm out here on a wing and a prayer.
Well, thanks very much for talking to me, Ffin, or Paula, I should say.
Give a bit of context to that one. Give a bit of context on it. People won't
basically, we're on a Zoom call. Ffин's using someone else's account and it says Paula. So when I was starting the call, I thought I was talking to someone called Paula.
But it's on my laptop, I would like to say.
But I had to accept the call. I had to accept the call to find out who Paula was. It was a mystery until that point.
Yeah. It's me all along. Fame is getting to my head. I'm starting to have aliases.
It's your alter ego.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, I don't actually have a girlfriend. It's just me.
Yeah, like Psycho. Become Psycho, yeah.
Yeah, that's me.
Yeah, really great to chat to you. It's really great to see what Delaire The Liar is surging through right now with this new EP and everything that's coming your way. Before I let you go and enjoy the rest of your evening, any final words, anything you want to say, anything you want to plug, floor's yours.
What I will say is this: live in the moment and never forget yourself. Love forever, peace together. Ffin Colley, 2023, Delaire The Liar for president. Amen.
Wise words to bow out on.
Yeah.
Thanks, dude, and hopefully I'll see you around soon.
It was fucking wicked speaking to you, Zach, honestly, and it's good to actually have like this interface. I really appreciate it, and thanks for having me on. Same mate.
Take care of yourself.
Okay, you too. See you later.
Bye.
Bye.
And that is it. Thank you so much for listening. Again, if you enjoyed this or any other episode of the podcast, then please leave a rating and review wherever you're listening to this. If you want to support the podcast further, you can go and give it a follow on social media, pick up something from the merch store, or subscribe to the Patreon to get early access to episodes. All the links can be found at itsnotaphase.co.uk. That's itsnotaphase.co.uk. Thanks again, hopefully catch you on the next one, and remember, it's not a phase, it's a lifestyle.